So following on from our previous update, you can see that ADA ended up exceeding this range that I set out, say between 91.63 cents to 92.63 cents. And I mentioned in my previous update that I was tracking a 5-hour structure, which was triggered once we ended up exceeding the 1.61 net level at 90.8 cents. And that was to form the third wave, which ended up topping off at the red line, which sits at 90.97 cents. And then we saw this corrective move to the downside play out to form the fourth wave, and I was looking for that final push to the upside to complete the fifth wave. And you can see that the fifth wave ended up reaching 95.4 cents. And since then, we have seen this corrective move to the downside play out. And so if I zoom out slightly, what I'm looking at for right now is for a 5-hour structure to form and for the fifth wave to then tap into this range between $1.09 to $1.20. And so essentially, this 5-hour structure here, I'm looking at for that structure to then form the wave 1. And for this quick to move to the downside to form wave 2, and then we see the wave 3, 4, and 5 play out like so. And so, yeah, it's very much possible that we are within this second wave. And so what I do is I'll drop down to the hourly chart just so I can see what's actually taking place. And it does look like we have a corrective move that's playing out right now, mid above a WXY structure. So if I bring in the fib tool and bring this to 93.56 cents. So the Y wave would typically reach anywhere between 1 to 1.236, and you can see that we ended up exceeding the 1.236 level, where we ended up bottoming out at 87.9 cents to form the Y wave. So essentially, this moved to the downside from the W wave, this formed the X wave, and this formed the Y wave. And given that we failed to retrace towards the 1.6 level, what that tells me is that this is just a quick move to the downside as opposed to an impulsive move. And so, yeah, this WXY structure could then form the W wave, like so, and then we had this move to the upside where we got rejected at the 50 MA, that then formed the X wave, and it looks like we are potentially within this Y wave right now. So if I remove this fib tool and bring in the new one, and if I bring this to 90.25 cents, and so, yeah, again, the Y wave would typically reach anywhere between 1 to 1.236, and that region sits between 81.56 cents to 83.15 cents. And you can also see that the buy order block, which is shaded in blue, also sits within this range. And so it's very much possible that we see a final push to the downside before we see a reversal to the upside, where we can then begin to track the wave 3. But if I zoom in, what you can also see is we did meet the minimum requirement for the Y wave, which is at this level here at 85.8 cents. And we more or less found support at the 70.2% retracement level. So technically speaking, it's very much possible that we ended up bottoming out this Y wave and we could see a reversal. And so we need further confirmation that we're either bullish or bearish. The bearish confirmation would be for the price of ADA to breach past this level at 85.24 cents. That would then signal a WXY structure within this Y wave. So essentially, this move to the downside would be the W wave. This move to the upside would be the X wave, where we ended up finding resistance at the 200 DMA. And then we see that final push to the downside to form the Y wave. So if I remove this and bring the fib tool, and then bring this to 88.41 cents. And so, yeah, again, the Y wave would typically reach anywhere between 1 to 1.226. And that region sits between 82.38 cents to 83.5 cents. And so, yeah, that would be the bearish signal. The bullish signal would be for the price of ADA to breach past this level here. And that level sits at 90.25 cents. If we do so, that could then signal that we are bullish, and the next key level to break would then be this local top. And that level sits at 95.4 cents. And so, yeah, as it stands at the moment, we still need further confirmation that we are either bullish or bearish. You can see on the hourly chart, the bears are slowly starting to lose that momentum. And if I go in the 4-hour chart, you can see on the stochastic RSI, we are within overbought conditions. And so, yeah, it's very much possible that the bears could regain control of the market and drive the price of ADA down towards this region. And if I just very quickly go on the 8-hour chart, we are within the oversold conditions. And so it does look like we are on the brink of actually bottoming out if we haven't done so already. And so yeah, I'm still bullish despite this correction move to the downside that we've witnessed over the past couple of days. But of course, this is something I'm going to be tracking in the days to come, and I'll keep you guys updated. And so yeah, that's just my update on Cardano ADA. Hopefully you found it useful, and if you did, then feel free to hit the like button, and if you're new, feel free to subscribe. Take it easy, people. Peace.